Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA. Let's go over what is happening with the stock today, and a pretty wild day, of course, for the market and NVIDIA in general. And yeah, let's talk about NVIDIA and let's see what it's cooking essentially. So as per usual, if you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. That link is down below in the description of the video, where I share my intraday thoughts, posts, updates every single day on mainly Tesla and sometimes other stocks as well, like Pepsi recently, which is up a nice amount on a red market day from yesterday. And yeah, definitely check that out. For just $3 a month or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that, plus NVIDIA daily updates as well. But jumping into it, NVIDIA closing the day down about 0.75%, closing out just shy of $146 per share. Slight underperformance compared to the market. But of course, NVIDIA did report its earnings, and it's actually down only 1.5%. We'll see how it reacts to the earnings call, of course, for better or for worse, right? But not doing too bad. All things considered, not doing too bad. I think it's actually doing honestly pretty well. Now, I was telling my members all day, and you know, this was the case, of course, that there was a lot of bearish prints coming in for NVIDIA expiring tomorrow, expiring as early as tomorrow. But again, the implied move for NVIDIA was about 8%, which is about a $10 move up or down. So despite the bears, which I was saying how the bears were definitely piling in pretty aggressively on NVIDIA, like very aggressive calls expiring on not tomorrow, Friday. It seems like they got the direction right, but the question is, are they still going to win? Because again, the stock needs to drop like 8% at least for them to win, right? And it's not dropping 8%. It's only down 2%. So even though the bears were right about the direction, they still potentially, assuming it stays like this, lost, because it's only down 2%. That's not too crazy, as it dropped right down to that major level of about 137 once again, which of course is going to be pretty much right into this market bias support that it held pretty well, and now it's bouncing pretty nicely as well. So now this is out of the way, it's always a nice thing to see. Let's see how it reacts, because again, you never really know how the market truly reacts to an earnings until, in my opinion, at least the day after. So in this case, tomorrow, right? We'll let the low volume digest the news. We'll let this kind of happen. But tomorrow, in my opinion, the real move happens. Whether that's good or bad, that's when the real move, of course, happens. Now, the way I look at it is still pretty simple. Now, ideally, I want NVIDIA to hold above the 21 EMA, which is around 142 roughly. That's the ideal scenario. Doesn't have to, but that's the ideal scenario. At the very least, my personal ideal scenario would be holding the market bias, which is essentially where it dropped to just now in post hours on the earnings drop at about that 137-ish range. I wanted to hold that level. I don't want it to go much lower than, honestly, let's just say 135 to make it simple. That is where I don't want NVIDIA to drop below, ideally. However, worst case scenario is 130. I do not want NVIDIA to drop below 130, because I do believe if NVIDIA drops below 130, that's very, very bearish. I think it completely breaks this upward trend that it's in, and it also risks falling out of this large rising kind of channel / wedge. You really, really, really do not want to see NVIDIA lose 130. The bulls absolutely have to defend that, and the bears absolutely have to destroy that level. So let's see how the market reacts to tomorrow. For the bullish side, however, if we do hold pretty much even honestly above 140, I think NVIDIA is looking pretty solid for, at the very least, honestly, tomorrow could even see a retest closer to 150. If NVIDIA gets a retest closer to 150 tomorrow, honestly, within the next week or two, I would not be surprised to see it make its way slowly back up to somewhere around 155. That will be my next main target from around here, 155, which will take, again, which can happen somewhere, towards the end of the month, maybe even earlier. Who knows for sure? Again, my trend line here is not perfect, right? But honestly, somewhere within the next week or two, I can absolutely see about $155 if the market digests this news in a positive manner, and of course continues its way back up. And assuming, of course, we ideally, for like the true bull case, hold about $140 per share. I tried buying in this after hours dump. Unfortunately, my order never filled. I had it set for $133. That's where the market was pricing. The market was pricing in for it to go to about 133. So I'm like, all right, I'll buy at 133 if it gets there. It never got there. And then unfortunately, when I moved my order up to 137, that also didn't fill, because we'd never dropped down to 137 again. So I'm just gonna let it digest. I actually did buy a little bit of AMD after hours when it was tanking with NVIDIA, because I think now that this is out of the way, hopefully NVIDIA or AMD can finally get a down bounce. This poor thing has just been getting beaten up. Like, everyone is hating on the stock. Nobody likes AMD right now. Everyone hates the stock for good reason. The thing has been not performing at all. But that's where I'm kind of getting or potentially sensing an opportunity. We'll see. But the reason I like AMD here personally is because the risk reward is just phenomenal. If I'm wrong, you're only risking like a few dollars here, but if I'm right, it's going to go much higher from here. So yeah, I don't know. I like AMD here personally, but we'll see how it actually plays out. Risk reward is just really good. Even if I'm wrong, again, very minimal loss. Now, in terms of NVIDIA, overall, the BX trender did officially flip green today. What I want to see next is I do want to see this stochastic cross back to being bullish, right? It is still bearish, unfortunately. I definitely want to see this thing cross back to being bullish. That's where I'd want to, get a little bit more confidence, and also the MACD, right? You definitely want to start seeing this MACD also cross back to being bullish. If those things can happen, maybe if NVIDIA kind of goes sideways for a bit, maybe we just kind of trade sideways, between like, let's say 145 to like 137. Let's just say we go sideways for a week or so, but maybe slowly trending upwards. That can give these indicators a bit of time to potentially catch up, maybe get that bullish crossover, and then maybe like the week after or the week after that, again, maybe closer to the end of the month, is when we could potentially get that nice little push towards about that 155 range. But again, to make it as simple as possible, as long as NVIDIA is above 135, ideally, I'm bullish. As long as it's 130, especially though, I'm still bullish. Like essentially, again, overall 130 is my like line in the sand. If it ever drops below 130, I officially flip bearish on NVIDIA. And I think that stock will potentially see a pretty decent correction from there. Very crucial level to hold. Do not want to lose 130. But again, as long as we're above 130 and especially 135 and especially above my market bias, I see no reason to be bearish. And I definitely see more reason to be bullish than bearish, especially with the numbers they posted. They actually posted pretty decent numbers. I don't know if this shows it. Yeah, let me see. They actually posted pretty nice. No, it's not showing it here. Yeah, they actually posted pretty nice numbers. It's just, I guess the market wanted more. It is what it is. But yeah, I do think NVIDIA is looking pretty good as long as it holds those levels. And I do lean more bullish than bearish. But again, let's let those levels decide for us. Let's not jump into it. And let's let the market digest this stock tomorrow and see how it actually fully digested, because that's when the real move usually happens. So yeah, all that being said and done, not much more to talk about. In terms of options flow, where is it? Yeah, there was a lot of bearish flow coming in. Let me scroll down over here, right? You had a 1.3 million put, 1.2 million put. And the reason I singled these one out is because you can see they have a gold border around them. That means that they're above the ask, but it also signifies to me that they're very important. Why? Because they were essentially out of the money puts, 140 and 139 puts for 11.22. That's this Friday. 1.3 million and 1.2 million on such a move is pretty insane. I'm assuming they lost, even though the NVIDIA is going down, because it's pretty much flat. Option sellers win once again. So yeah, this is why I don't play earnings. And if I ever play earnings, it's usually just to sell options, right? Because again, if you get a move like this, man, you're good to go. But on the flip side, if you sell options and you get a move like Target down 22%, well, you pretty much lose for sure, unless you are someone that actually bought puts. So that's why, I usually don't play earnings unless it's a long-term hold. But yeah, nonetheless, definitely, the bears absolutely stepped in on NVIDIA today. The bears finally actually stepped in. You can see very almost even flow percentage-wise rather for the bears versus the bulls for once. And NVIDIA did have the most confirmed, or one of the most confirmed bearish flow as well, for 25 million as well in puts. So the bears, like I've told my members the whole day, they were stepping in. They absolutely were stepping in. But I mean, if all we get is a 1% drop, that's not that bearish, right? That's not that bearish. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. So let's see how the earnings call goes. Let's see how the market digests that. And of course, let's see how the market digests it tomorrow as well. But thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you tomorrow as usual.